This next item, this next conversation is a shout out to one of you that at a recent show pulled me aside and said, when you're talking about Byzantine coins next, look up the Millennium Kingdom. You're going to be amazed at how this all comes together. So the answer is, of course, I love history, I love looking into history, and we get to talk about coins, which is part of our history. Well, tonight, we have them back in stock. It's the instant sellos up there with the widow's mite. This is the Byzantine copper with the image of Christ. Medium grades back in stock. Let's have some fun. So I'm referencing the Millennium Kingdom because if you look back at biblical history, right, we have this charge that over a 5,000 year period, Christ will be coming back to earth and changing things. And it's referenced in the Bible with St. John's notes in Revelation. And the unique thing about it is it was happening at the beginning of the Byzantine Empire, which was basically the fall of Rome and the reestablishment of Rome. So the consideration of when the Byzantine Empire started, kinda, according to historians, is with Constantine the Great. And you'll remember in the middle of his reign as imperial, right, we changed the image to now Christianity is part of the culture. Prior to that, it was not allowed as part of the scenario. So we're seeing this shifting. And then we get closer and closer and closer to the time frame of when they thought Christ was coming. And none of the rulers wanted to be the guy at that time and not have his portrait on the coins. So the closer we got to the time frame, well, the rulers, all to be in the good graces of, changed the imagery on the coins. So now the obverse is the bust and or profile of Christ, with the reverse being the cross and other tied imagery. But it's a great, great storyline, an actual part of life. Now, all of our coins are certified by NGC. They all come with the certificate, as you see with the small story card, talking about when they were issued. The best of the best. My competition has the same grade, same quality, for $139. We're half. And it's in the same holder. That's what we call the ABC way. But again, the Millennium Kingdom comes into fruition with the official establishment of Rome no longer being that Rome is its own religion. Now Christianity is coming and allowed. They moved the capital to Constantinople, if you might remember as well. And to stay in front of the prophecy, all the emperors moving forward, many, many of them, and towards the end, when we're getting closer and closer to that date, put the image of Christ on the obverse to sway and stay. And then finally, the sacking of Constantinople in 1453. So a great, great storyline, a great product. We talked in the past about the widow's mites, right? Tying itself to the Bible as well, which were the 1 cent, I guess, the cents of the Roman Empire. As time went on, these became the cents. So we're in the United States, we started with a large cent in copper in the early 1800s, and in 1857 we shrunk to the size we have today. In the Roman Empire, it was the almost exact opposite. The cents were small to start, and as we got further and further in, they got bigger. Nothing wrong with that, all right? Nothing at all wrong with that. But the storyline, the pricing, everything here with us is perfect. So again, early Christians, the 6 divine days of 1,000 years each, going into the scripture itself. It was all about reforming the empire, bringing forward the coins, and changing the imagery to that of, and that makes sense, right? Thinking about how we gain information and how things are different now, 2025, versus they were in 1980. We'll envision this 700-year empire towards the end. We have the Age of Chaos, the fall of Rome, and then the flow into the Byzantine Empire. And as we're flowing in, not only are we at the weakened state of their existence, we're also concerned with the outside and the opening up of Christianity, which now has gone into this for a couple hundred years, and the prophecy that the world's going to end, he's going to come back down. And so, always a fun one. Guys, give me a 30-second clock, please. We only had a handful of these available. Now, a coin that dates back how far, right? That's the thing. We're talking about 1,000-year-old coins and then some. Compare that to the value of our current colonial coins. If you could find a large cent, 250-year-old US coin, would it be $69 or $169? Yeah. So it's always fun when these great pieces of history not only appear, we always certify them out just to make sure. And then, yeah, the value tied to it. Thanks everybody for listening, but it is time to be moving on.